Hey everybody, today I'm going to review my first Nintendo 3DS game, and since it's a digital download only, I'm going to skip my normal intro and go right into my review. Xeodrifter was released in 2014 and was made by Renegade Kid, who also made Mutant Mudds for the 3DS. Xeodrifter is a Metroidvania style game for one player only and has one standard mode of difficulty. The game allows you to save your game in one of 3 save slots. When you start the game, your spaceship gets damaged, with your warp drive taking the biggest hit. Near you is 4 planets you can fly to using your impulse power by pressing the B button, and then pressing the A button to dock with that planet. When docked, you will appear inside your ship. Inside the ship there is a platform where you can save and regain your health in the middle, and another platform you can use to transport down to the surface. Once on the surface, the D-pad moves your character, B jumps, and Y fires your weapon, but you can only fire in the 4 main directions, so no diagonal shots here. You can visit any planet in any order, but the path you have to take is pretty predetermined, as you will need to acquire items and abilities by beating bosses in order to proceed in most areas. These include a submarine that can go underwater and is activated by pressing the A button when you're in the water. You can shift between background and foreground by pressing X. You can acquire running, which can help you cross lava by pressing A and left or right. You can get the rocket, which can propel you to new heights by pressing up and A. The solar flare, which has to be selected on the bottom screen. This weapon has to be charged, but once fully charged can destroy certain barriers. And the phase, which allows you to pass through narrow walls to get to the other side by pressing the R button. Throughout the levels you can find health and weapon upgrades, sometimes by finding secret entrances along the walls. Each weapon upgrade can be added to a special function on the bottom of the screen. From left to right they are fast shots, strong shots, which need to be added in groups of 2, faster shots, 3-way shots that don't shoot at the same time but shoot in different directions at different times, and wave shots. As you collect more weapon upgrades, you can spread them out in different combinations on the bottom screen, and it lets you assign your combinations in 3 different slots, allowing you to switch between combinations on the fly. The bottom of the screen also shows you maps of the planets as you progress. You can only save your game on your ship, but before the boss fights, the game usually activates a checkpoint, allowing you to jump right back into the boss fight if you lose, which is a very handy feature for this game. The boss fights themselves are very interesting, since you basically fight the same boss time after time, but as you gain new abilities and strengths, so does he. Beating 6 boss fights opens up a final section that includes more boss fighting and a dreamlike final stage. Graphically speaking, I thought the game has a nice retro look to it, although I do wish that the planets had a little bit more character to them. The sounds and music in the game were solid but not that memorable. Family friendly wise, the game has an E for everyone rating with a notation of mild fantasy violence. Currently on the Nintendo eShop, the game is $9.99, although when I bought it, it was on sale for $2.49. So what do I think of Xeodrifter? It's a good Metroid style game that isn't quite up to the standards of a real Metroid game. I wish there was a bigger variety of enemies to fight, and while it's somewhat novel, fighting the same boss over and over does get a bit stale. It's also a tough game, especially at the beginning when you have very little power, but despite the toughness, I was able to complete the entire game somewhere in between 2 and 4 hours, making me wish that there was more planets to explore. But as a fan of Metroid style games, I did have fun with this one. The controls are solid once you get used to the somewhat floaty jumps, and as I got more weapon upgrades, I had more fun blasting the various aliens. For the price I paid, I was happy with what I got out of it, but that was on sale. If I paid full price, I may have wanted just a little bit more out of the game. Usually I rank games at this time, but since this is my first digital-only 3DS game, that will have to wait for later. But using my 4-tier ranking scale, which goes from best to worst, Hall of Fame, solid, meh, and trash, I'll give this game a solid ranking. Xeodrifter is a good Metroid-style game, but I do wish it offered a little bit more. So what do you think of the game? Whether you agree or disagree with me, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Also feel free to click the like and subscribe buttons and follow me both on the Facebook and the Twitter. And I'm a member of the Retro Junkies Network. At this time, I'd like to thank the extraordinary Greg from the SNES podcast for supporting the show at patreon.com/NoSwearGamer. Thank you, Greg. If you appreciate the work I do and would like to join the League of Extraordinary Patreon supporters, please consider signing up at patreon.com/NoSwearGamer and becoming a supporter for as little as $1 a month. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time in the next episode of the No Swear Gamer.